Hi there. Today, Joan's seed is in the house. I'm going to share another wonderful article with you on how to make things and stuff for your garden and stuff. And this one's called Growing Herbs in the Air. And it's just really wonderful here. I would love to have something set up like this. You can see right here, this looks like just one of those old-fashioned clothesline posts and stuff with the things extended out. And you can buy it for the plants, or you can make it with wood, or whatever you choose to make it with. This here is showing you how to take a metal basket, among other things, moss and stuff in that area, to create your own hanging herbs. Here is the first part. As you can see right here, you take your metal basket and you take your moss and you create your outer layers with it along the way until you get it like this. And then in the bottom part, you add some of the soil. This here is showing where they're taking the herbs and they're rolling it up in paper towels. And I imagine you can probably use old advertisements or whatever you want to use. And then you roll it up. So here is what you do. And once you really get it growing good, look at that. Ain't that wonderful? That is just something. That's just so wonderful. So now, again, let me bear with me. I am dyslexic, and I do see words different than most people. So some of these words I will most likely spell out for you because I do tend to mispronounce. So the thing is that the benefits of this here, you can get these herbs from your greenhouse or from raising them in your own house, and you can create this beautiful, beautiful setting here of the herbs, especially in some of the warmer climates and things, even during the summer. And you can have all this nice, wonderful, fresh herbs. And then during the winter months, you can just bring the pot back into the house and have herbs all winter long. Wow. So if you got the time and you got the money to set this up, once you do with initial expense, here it goes. Now, preparing the basket. We begin to prepare our herbs baskets in late winter in the greenhouse and hang them outside from May through September. Now that's what I'm talking about. If you have a greenhouse, you can set it up in the greenhouse or you can set it up in the house. We always careful to keep them out of direct sunlight and strong wind for the first week or so. I think that's what a lot of people do. We put the plants out and we put it right smack dab in the wind and in the sun. And then we wonder why the plants are not doing so well. Transplanted plants, whether from a greenhouse or from your inside your house, has an adjustment period, just like human beings do. We have to adjust. So after we bring them out, the sun burns the leaves and the wind desecrates them if the plants aren't given a chance to harden off after the lust life of the greenhouse. So like I was talking about, shop. If you don't have a greenhouse, purchase well-established plants of a size appropriate for planting out in the garden. So Joan's seed is learning more every day here. So, like I said, now the wire baskets, as I was showing you right here, I'm not going to go through really doing a whole lot of reading on that for you, but I will read it and give you the basis for it. I want to tell you something. This in here was talking about a certain type of moss to use and to soak it in the water and allow it to absorb all the moisture. Moss holds moisture, but if you live in these areas where moss just grows along the rock edges and everything wild and stuff, for me, I would harvest that and use that instead of buying my moss. If you are able to harvest your own moss, then that would actually save you a great deal of money. But that is up to you, and that is the choice. And it says the wire baskets can vary in size, of course, whatever. But it's available in a variety of sizes, and select one about 1/3 to 1/2 the desired final dimension of the floral ball. You naturally want a little bit bigger than what you would to begin with. And if you're planting on herbs that will hug the basket closely, such as a mint, and it's called CORSICAN, mint. So, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because what I'm seeing I'm seeing it as Corosis, something like that. See, that's what I'm saying with my problem here. I see it different. I'm spelling it out for you. CORSICAN, mint. Now, the basket should be closer to the desired size. If you got herbs that don't spread out, like thyme or catnip or whatever, then you want to kind of put it a little bit closer, then you want it different. Okay, these wire baskets are light and weight for their size, but more important, the spaces on the sides are large enough for plants to grow through. The basket lining nearly covers the wire frame. Any appearance blends well into most garden settings. Okay, the number of plants you need can be estimated from the size of the baskets and anticipation of the spacing of the plants, of course. So depends on how much you want to. So that's through trial and error is basically about it. It says here typically every 3 to 4 inches around the sides of the basket and in the top. Add 30% more plants if you're going to plant 2 rows around the sides. So basically it's just like a W. You want it to rotate it out. You want it opposite of each one. And then in the center you want to put 30%. So what you're doing is after you've lined it with the moss of your choice, and make sure the moss you've soaked it overnight, and then you roll these herbs up into a paper towel or a newspaper, and you want to insert it into these areas. So you're going to do the first layer. You're going to insert it in, and you're going to add some more dirt on it. And you don't want to pack the dirt down. You don't want to clump it down and make it hard because it do. So once you do that, then you turn around and you do the opposite row like a W around it. Add some more dirt. And then you turn around and take for the top, you want to kind of hold them a little bit tighter, not real tight. You don't want to squeeze them to death, but you want to put them in there and add the dirt the rest of the way on the top. Now the thing with peat moss and some of the other ones is the watering. You've got to be careful on how much. You've got to make certain it's totally soaked. It recommends that once you water them, you let the water. When you see the water running through, then it's watered all the way. Of course, it depends on the area you live at and the climate and things in that area. And it depends on the type of herbs, too, on how much water. It recommends you water them twice a day on certain situations, early in the mornings and late in the afternoons. Now, that's basically up to you on that decision on if you want to water them twice a day or you just want to water them once a day. You might turn around and water them at night. Now, I find for me, I like watering my plants better in the late afternoons because at night, the moisture holds better in the plants. Not that I'm not beyond watering in the daytime because I have had to do that as well. So this is what it is. So it says soak unmilled and again with its moss, and the moss I use is spelled SPHAGNUM. Moss in warm water until thoroughly moist. Overnight is best. Squeeze out each handful as you apply it. So let's say whatever moss you choose, if you're harvesting it from nature or if you're buying it, you don't want to squeeze it real tight. You don't want to press it too hard. You still want to leave moisture in it. And then line the inner side of the baskets in the same way and press the moss against the wire and part ways through the frame until the fragment partly covers the wire. So you just basically want to kind of overlap them, basically when you're doing that. And check your work, fill any thin spots so that the layers is of uniform 1.5 inch thickness. 1.5 inch thickness, about yay thick. So that's what it's talking about. Fill the basket half full of soil mix and tamp it down just enough to remove air pockets. And then they're talking about their favorite mixed soil, but everybody's different, and it also depends on what you're going to choose to plant in here. If you're planting some you want more sand in, or you may want more dirt in, it's up to you on your basic mixture, what you are comfortable with, what you like. So remove a plant from the pot, gently loosen the roots, and on all that, you can just basically when you move, you just shake the plant a little bit here, and then instead of pulling at it so hard, you might want to just take a little bit of a knife and kind of loosen the roots up a little bit. Sometimes pulling them apart, if they're really packed in, pulling them apart can do more damage, and you can actually lose some of your herbs and break some of them. So again, you might want to just take the knife real careful like, or whatever form, and loosen the roots up a little at a time, just carefully. You don't want to just get in there and just go, it's not going to work. You're going to do some damage. Now, the other options on it, you can take that plant, once you've shook it out a little bit if you want to, you can take and soak it in some water and soften the dirt up and the roots. And once you've soaked it in, then it will pull apart a little bit easier too. You can go with that option as well. And then it says when your finger poke a hole outward, and that's outward means you go in and you're going to poke the hole this way. You're not going to poke it into the basket. You're going to poke it out of the basket, so you can create your holes there. And then you repeat the process about every 3 to 4 inches. And again, it depends upon the herb. And then allow enough of the dirt to cover the roots, as I told you. So it said plant to the top of the basket as you would ordinarily any pot with the plant growing upright 3 or 4 inches apart. So, like I say, you might want to put them a little bit tight, but you don't want to put them too tight when you're putting the dirt in. It's saying do them about 3 or 4 inches apart. Use your basic judgment on that because, whatever herb, each herb is going to react a little bit different on the growth. So it just says water daily in hot weather. It's talking about early in the mornings and in the afternoon. But if you live in an area where you're limited on the amount of water you can water, at night would be the best time because then the moisture would hold it in. So that base is there. So again, I want to show you this. This here is the steps that it's showing you. Again, you can buy the moss and do it yourself, or you can turn around and harvest it from Mother Nature if you live in an area where you can harvest it yourself. And this here is showing the process. This is showing what it looks like after it really gets out there growing good. And again, you can see right here is the picture of it. So, right here. Now, this in here came out of one of the herb books that I found at a yard sale. And it's a 1993, the Herb Companion June and July edition. So, this here's really something beautiful. It's a very gorgeous plant. I mean, you can't beat that. Look at, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that just wonderful? And if you got a patios and you're just want to create some nice garden space, you're limited on space, you can build one of these, get someone to build with a wooden, I would use treated wood if you want to go that route. If you got someone that's really crafty and they can build all this stuff for you, then that's the route you want to go. If you want to take them and buy the wire baskets later in the fall, when everything is on sale and stuff like that, and do it that way, and then get your herbs started in the house during the winter months. Find you got an area where you can keep things warm and fresh, and then do it in the springtime and hang it out. You've got this beautiful hanging thing. I mean, you can sit there and add butterflies or whatever you want on that and make it really gorgeous. So this is Live Prepper here sharing an article with you. And today I'm Seed Joan. Sorry. Joan Seed. So, but Joan Seed's going to be back at the house a whole lot more this year. I'm going to be out there doing some other things and showing you stuff and sharing ideas. I'm going to be sharing an article with you on gardening and seeds and even maybe some of the insects I hope to learn more about this year. So, you know what? Join me. Live Prepper on YouTube is what I'm listed under. And I have a Facebook page called World of Joan. And on that is non-political, non-this, non-that. I don't get into any of this other stuff. It's just strictly articles on how to do and maybe some comedy stuff from time to time and things about what people have done in their lives that's changed around. So check it out. There's a lot of wonderful articles I've got on that as well. So this is Joan Seed in the house sharing, growing my herbs in the air. Woohoo! So be safe, be happy. Bless you.